another episode. What we got here is a FC RX7. So I totally made intro video for this car and my phone broke and I wound up losing like quite a bit of footage, especially the intro and the first few things I did to it. But it's not just a regular RX7, we got a SR20 under the hood. So this is a FC3S JDM RX7. At this point, everything that I was supposed to do on the car, I'm finished with. This car was completely stripped. There was no interior in it, just had the dash and seats. But we put the whole OEM interior back in here. Missing a couple little pieces, just like the little corner pieces and those plugs up there. But we've got the OEM bins in here. But I guess we'll get to the video and you can check it out. I'll turn the ignition on and I will try to find, there it is right there, my constant power, and that's going to be the blue green. So let me write that down. And then after you get your constant power, what you can do is just plug your switch back in and then just start pressing buttons one by one and back probing the pins, figuring out which one is which. Move to the next click, diagram. Now I'm going to pull the cluster out. After I get the cluster out, start pulling the whole dashboard out, and then after I get the dashboard out, I could diagram the window switches, and I also need to do the clock up here. Right here, this is why you just start from scratch, because I have no fucking idea what's going on right here. Besides this, we got some labels on here, and look, let's see if it'll focus. They're all in Japanese. Super cool. Alright, so my job diagramming is done. We got everything here: ignition switch, headlight switch, defroster switch, pop-ups, turn signals, hazards, dome light, we're keeping that. The driver's side and passenger side windows, we're keeping the clock, wiper switch, and then this is everything planned out, all my accessories, everything we're keeping, the wire colors I'm using, how much I'm gonna need, all my supplies, etc., and just more random stuff. So my task is right now, I'll slowly work on removing this harness. So I'm like redoing the whole chassis in this car, as you know, and I was like, man, I can't just leave this raggedy engine harness in here. So I'm like untaping some of this stuff, and look at this. We just got exposed contacts, just like basically taped together. That's so sick. All right, so I de-loomed all this and I like completely simplified it. I deleted a bunch, fingers over the camera. I deleted a bunch of stuff out of here. It's all right there. Basically, like I took the wiper plug out of it, the power steering switch plug out of it. I took the mass airflow sensor out of it because this is a map. So basically the only thing I have to do is just like clean up a bunch of these connections and re-loom it. Like, see, we still got some double back stuff over here. All this string, that's the whole chassis harness. I've got two of them here. This is for the rear and this is for the dash. I still have to make one for the front, but I'm gonna wait to do the front because the front harness is super easy. But what I'm doing right now, you see this little cubby hole I got over here? I got some ABS plastic here. It's just white because it's like for boats. But this is what I'm doing. Fuse box came in. I just have to wire the whole thing up. nothing on it yet. We have circuit breaker, and then I got a DUETSCH plug going there. We'll have a pass-through ground stud there, but that'll be cut out like that. The fuse box will be recessed in there like that. Has the cover like that. Then we'll have our DUETSCH connector up there, ground stud there, and that'll be our panel box. And this is going to be covered. It won't be white anymore after I finish and cut everything out. Alright, so if you check this out, this is what I do with the string. So I mock up my whole harness. This will be the start of it at the fuse box. Coming off, we got window and ECU plug. Over here, branch off, we got clock, radio, Gretty, turbo, boost controller thing, cigarette lighter, spare 12 volt for the, actually that's gonna be for the underglow. Dash, that'll be my 12 volt switch plug, wiper, that one's, oh that's switch plug, that's turn. What do we got here? This goes out to the firewall, so that'll go into the front of the car. And then over here we got dome and windows. But basically that's my whole harness laid out for the interior on the dash front side. And then I have another one. This one right here is a lot simpler. That's just gonna be like a straight run all the way back. We got fuel pump, left tail, tag light, right tail. I started diagramming the whole chassis. So that's the Autosport connector for the firewall, and the whole pinout, what's going to it. This is the whole fuse box pinout, wire colors, everything for it. And over here on the left, I'm gonna have to redo that because originally what I planned on is see the 8-pin, 6-pin, 4-pin, 3-pin, and the other 12-pin. What I planned on doing was having all of those like 8, 4, 12, 2, whatever on this panel, but I figured to simplify it, I'll just order another big pin round connector, so all of them will be condensed into that one. So now I'll just have to go back into here and redo this section into that 29-pin connector. But it'll all fit, so then we'll basically just have those two big main plugs. All right, look, got it cut out. Just gotta mount it, and I gotta trim out this a little bit for the clips. I might just do a square, I don't know, we'll see. All right, so I got some supplies in, a little bit of supplies, just a few things. My stuff from Rewire came in. I got my DUETSCH connectors. We got some DR25, a bunch of different sizes. Random stuff, battery, boots, and covers. We got a couple Autosport connectors. So what I'm going to start with is just like the rear harness first, because it's the smallest one. Well, it's the longest one, I suppose, but it's like the simplest one. But you just take this spool and chase it out all the way to, you know, where you're supposed to go, and vice versa. Cut them and go. Slight update, big update. I've been working here for a couple hours now. So halfway done concentric twisting the first part of the rear harness. I got a couple more feet here. I'm trying to make it all the way to my next transition, which is going to be where the fuel pump comes out. So I want to finish out this whole first core all the way up until the transition, and then I'll run my second layer. Now we're doing the second layer and going the opposite direction. So I'm going to continue filling this all the way up until it's round again, and then it'll be ready to sleeve. All right, so I'm about 5 hours into this harness. Doesn't look like much down here, does it? This is the very end. This will be all the way at the right turn. We've got 3 layers. We got our core layer, an outer layer, or a center layer, and our outer layer. See, I'm working on our outer layer to get up to right here. This is going to be our first branching point right there. so I got like half of the harness loomed, the big portion at least. This half, I'm still waiting on that stuff to come in, the 1/2-inch DR25. There's the back half of it, but the whole point of this concentric twisting the harness is so that when your harness is finished, it's super flexible and it always goes back to shape. Always goes back to a straight, or you can get 90s when you need it or whatever, and it always returns. So right now what I'm doing is working on my transition sleeving, and then I'll put some plugs on this end. I can't really do too much else on this end until that 1/2-inch DR25 comes in, because that's the next part of the harness. So, well, I could put a plug on this one too, and then put plugs here, but that's about it for this half, and I'll probably start working on the interior harness. All right, so I'm gonna start putting some plugs on these two here. And what we're using here is, these are DMC, Daniels Manufacturing Corp. Crimpers. These things are the industry standard when it comes to crimpers, especially for well, basically any kind of crimps, because these removable turrets here you can buy different attachments to basically use any crimp. So we are using DUETSCH connectors here. I have a variety from 2-pin to 12-pin. The head on these things, it's interchangeable, so we've got 12, 16, and 20, and those are basically the size of the different pins. So all those pins are all 16s, so we're gonna leave it on 16. And when you're using these, there's also a adjustment here, so we'll put it on 16 wire as well, because these are all 16. And what I'll do as I'm going through here is I'll go in my computer and in my diagrams and add those pins into there, and it'll tell me, as you can see, all the back of these connectors, they're all numbered, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'll have diagrams for everything here in my computer also. These are pretty straightforward though. The side with the green is where the wire goes into. Now that we have that on there, you want to be sure of, there's a window. It won't focus on it, but there's a window here, a little hole in the crimp. You can see it on that one. You want to make sure that you can see your wire strands through that. And then we'll take our crimpers, this end, through that hole. We'll put it through there. We've got everything set right up here, 16, 16. Insert it in this way, crimp it, easy as that. Well, I started on the dash harness, and when I say I started on the dash harness, I'm already pretty far ways in. I have a 4-wire core and then an 11-wire wrap around it, going counterclockwise. So now this next wrap, I'm gonna go clockwise around it. Man, I really wish I would have took a picture or filmed this before I did it. But I just built all this. So we've got, this is our turn signal relays right here. And this is like a little sub harness that I built that will stay in the dash. And you can just unplug the chassis harness from this little sub harness. And all the OEM plugs coming right out front. This was already pre-made. I did make this plug though. All right, so what did I just fix? This. I just fixed this. Put some seam sealer and then painted over it. Okay, so now that all the wiring is done, besides just looming up the rest of the engine harness, it's time for some carpet. We've got the e-brake fixed, and the carpet just showed up today. So I ordered carpet from ACC Carpets. I made a special request. Since this is right-hand drive, normally all these carpets come with the heel pads. Guess what? No heel pad. Obviously, as you can see, there's no holes in this carpet. It is somewhat molded, but they're not molded the best. So we're gonna set this in there, start cutting some holes out, and see how good we can get it to fit. All right, so this is the last harness to go in. This is the front harness. Bulkhead connector on it. All right, so now that this thing's all done, I guess I could show you the functions of the fuse box. So I wired this thing up, as you saw, to all OEM switches. So we got factory key. First click is gauges. And then second click, fuel pump. And I wired that into the fuse box too, so it, you know, it does the OEM prime. We got headlights. On the headlight, we got blinkers. We got hazards. We got wipers. We got windows. We got auto. What else do we got in here? Cigarette lighter works. I put, this is the underglow. You can see it's on. Got interior and underglow. We got, this is the strobe switch. I wired that in. You see the underglow too? Got tag lights and everything. Yeah, everything off, factory switches. It came out pretty sick. I'm really happy with it. Dome lights. This window works too. You'll be able to see the fuse box now. Yeah, you can. With the underglow on, power FC. We got the whole interior all put together. Battery nice and tucked under here. Got the kill switch in there too. This one is just open. It's got, you know, the OEM bag in there so you can still store stuff in there. But complete interior. I think it came out good. This thing looks so much cooler with interior now. The back looks awesome. Yeah, I hope you liked the video. Let me know what you think about the car. But thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you next week.